Hello, this is Gary at Jack Raven Bushcraft. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video. It's mid-March here at the moment. We're in Kent, if you're not sure where we're based. We're at the start of foraging season. So I thought I would just take a couple of minutes to talk a little bit about foraging in general. Over the next coming couple of months or so, we're likely to be putting together a few more videos where we look at specific plants, where we look at a few recipes and so on. You can see here in the hedgerow, hawthorn all starting to leaf at the moment. Down on the ground in front of me we've got stinging nettles, we've got cow parsley, so all good to go. So when I go off and do some foraging, there's a few things that I generally take with me. So I have a little foraging bag, and in here there's a few bits and pieces I carry. So I have a water bottle, and I've got a notebook, and there's a pen to go with it. I've got a little pen knife, a little Swiss Army knife, comes in useful. And what else do I carry? Oh, I normally carry a little emergency bivvy / sleeping bag. So let me just put that back. Now, when it comes to foraging, or I should say when it comes to foraging and the law in this country, we've got two different things that we need to be aware of. So we have the Theft Act, and the Theft Act covers what we often refer to as the 4 Fs. So fungus, foliage, fruits and flowers. So under the Theft Act, if we are picking those things, then we're on safe ground. Now if you think about it, so if we take a leaf, so the foliage, or we take a flower off a tree, or a plant, if we take a berry off a tree, we're not particularly doing that tree any harm. Now we still need to think about sustainability, but ultimately we're not harming the tree or the plant particularly. When it comes to digging things up for the roots, well, this comes under the Countryside Wildlife Act, and that says that you need to have the landowner's permission before you can dig anything up to sort of make use of its roots. And again, if you think about what we're doing there, as soon as we dig something up to get to its roots, we've killed that plant. And so we need to think very, very carefully about sustainability in those instances. So typically, if we're going to dig things up for their roots, we dig up things that are both common and abundant, and even then we will only take 1 in 10, that kind of thing. You're going to want to think a little bit about the kind of places where you want to forage. So a fairly obvious one would be to avoid areas where dogs are walked frequently. Now there is a rule in foraging that says don't pick anything below knee height. It's not a bad rule, but I think there are some things that you would absolutely miss if you stuck to that entirely. So just be mindful of the fact that there might be dogs around and they might well have weed on the plants. Either try to avoid it or just give them a good wash before you start doing anything with them. You want to avoid busy roads, so the plants and the trees could end up taking in some of the exhaust fumes from that road, from the cars that are on it. Be aware of places where there might be industrial runoff, more likely agricultural runoff, so places that might have been sprayed with pesticides and herbicides and fungicides, all of those kinds of things. When it comes to what you want to put your stuff in as you're collecting it, well, I go through a few examples here. We've got sort of just a standard little trug, quite like that one. This basket is made from sweet chestnut bark, so we make these on our bark workshop days. They're really cool. These are pretty good. These are the sort of net bags. You can get this kind of thing now in some of the supermarkets so that you can reuse them when you're buying your fruit and veg. I particularly use these for nettle collecting. This one's pretty good, so just a canvas bag. But actually, still got a few bits in it from last season. And then of course just a good old-fashioned wicker basket type thing. You will note that all of these things that I've got here are made of, well, not all, sorry, with the exception of this, but these are made of natural materials. You need to avoid putting the things that you collect into plastic bags. By the time you get home, whatever you've collected is going to have sweated, and you're going to be basically looking at a pile of mush in your bag. When it comes to foraging for plants, you need to have the same degree of recognition as you would if you were going into the supermarket. So when you go into the supermarket and you stood there and you're looking at a tin of beans on the shelf, you know that it's a tin of beans. That's the level of recognition that you need to have before you start picking things to eat them. As I say, we're going to do a few videos over the coming months now, looking specifically at things that we can, or you could eat, and we'll probably throw a few recipes in there. So to make sure that you catch those, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll speak again in a week.